All right, so guys, welcome to Xtreme BPM. My name is Mark Xtreme. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, where we get to talk to people that make the music. And during the week, you get to listen more of the music, but that is between 1 and 2 p.m., where we get to introduce new music that probably you haven't heard before. And Fridays and Tuesdays, we get to talk to people that make the music. And if you ever miss any of the conversations, you can always go back to any podcast app of choice. You search for the Xtreme BPM. That is in case you missed any of the airings, and you'll get all the conversations. Okay. So the Xtreme BPM, that's it on any podcast app of choice. That is after we have aired the interviews. So this time around, we have a power couple on the show. I think this should be the second couple we've had on the show. Both of them do music. So yes, the difference is that this one is a power couple instead. Yeah, and so they're on the show today, and let's welcome them to the show. And they have a new single that we shall be premiering later on called "Higher Love." So let's welcome to the show the power couple.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Good to talk to you today. And these days when we're doing conversations during this time, we always have to ask: Is everyone okay? Is everything okay? Because of what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy right now. It's been a difficult time, but we've been pretty blessed. We have a home studio, so we've been staying home and working on music, staying healthy, and just trying to stay focused.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Doing well.
All right, so let's see. How long ago did you guys meet?
Go ahead.
Well, we met a long time ago. Actually, we met in college. I don't even know how many years ago.
Yeah, Berklee College of Music in Boston.
But we ended up we've done music individually as solo artists, and then we came together on a project a few years ago, maybe like 5-6 years ago. We came together on a project, and that project ended up dissolving. But the two of us writing together seemed like it could be interesting. And we both come from very different like musical backgrounds, but our combined creativities kind of led to Power Couple.
Oh, that's interesting. And how did you come to the name? Because usually there's a genesis for that. So how did you come to the name to say, okay, what first names did you run through before you decided on ending up with Power Couple?
Oh boy.
Well, I have like a long list of band names. Most of them are jokes. But our old band was called Indian Summer, and my name is Summer, so it's kind of a joke as well. And that's a term we use to mean like it's a long summer that goes into the fall. But that music was pretty different. And you came up with Power Couple. Maybe you could say what made you think of it, and I could say a little bit about what it means to us.
Well, honestly, like for me, when it came to mind, it's a name I had always thought would be interesting to have, because it's pretty powerful, right? Like just to even list yourself or to call somebody a power couple is like this idea that this duo has some kind of dynamic together that's really strong and present. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of surprised to learn that there was no other group with that name yet. So I thought,
yeah, everything's taken these days. So that was amazing. And it means a lot of different things to us. Like John said, it's something you strive for, to live up to the name. And it keeps us motivated to be that for each other and for ourselves. But the power couple isn't just about the two of us. It is about like the yin and the yang, and how the masculine balances the feminine, and how we are very different, but opposites attract and create that whole. But it's also about your relationship with the music. And that's a power couple too, like us and the music, or us and the audience, or us and the fans. So it's a lot of different ways of looking at what it means to have that synergetic, empowering relationship.
And do you feel like there's a pressure to make sure you live up to that standard, because you already set a standard already? That by you be adding power to the term couple is already setting yourself up for pressure now. Do you realize that there's that pressure to make sure that you end up at the end of the day you live to that standard?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's actually, in terms of just setting an ambitious standard, with music, there's constant, with all forms of art really, but in our case, our medium is music. And, the more you latch onto the idea of, I want to continuously get better, I want to continuously grow, the more you also start to realize that music, is defined by its lack of boundaries. So instead of looking at, well, I know these 12 notes can do X amount of, can make X amount of music, it's more like what goes beyond these 12 notes. And every single time you go beyond, you go a step beyond, you get more powerful, you get stronger, you get better, you get more creative. So um, I also kind of, we've talked about this before, but I also kind of really admire artists who set themselves up for bigger standards. It's just, you don't know where it's going to go. You have no idea, but it's good to be ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well said. You have to push yourself beyond your limits to grow, so you have to set those standards high if you want to reach your full potential.
All right. So let's see. When we are getting on, you say that both of you came together and you're both from different backgrounds. So let's start with you. Let's say Summer. What music did you grow up on, and what kind of influenced the music that what were your influences earlier on before you got together to make music together?
Awesome. Yeah. So I grew up with a musical family. So I grew up playing music and singing right away. Like my parents used to write melodies for me. So it's kind of immersed in creativity and a lot of live music, actually jamming and creating together, mostly based through piano, voice, guitar, a little bit of percussion, drumming. My mom plays the harp, the flute. And my dad was actually studying to get his minor in classical piano. So I, as a baby, would fall asleep just hearing live classical piano for hours and hours and hours. He's a night person, musicians up all night. But so classical, honestly, my writing used to take these movements. They wouldn't follow like strict formula of like a pop song. They'd kind of be going all over the place on a journey. And on top of that, of course, I grew up in the 90s. I love like 90s hip hop R&B. Like Lauryn Hill was a big influence for me, but I also love like Tori Amos and singer songwriters and like Lilith Fair, and when women were really stepping forward in a new way in music. I loved grunge rock. I loved classic rock. So I came from a background where it was a lot of rock, singer songwriter, and then I kind of on my own, not through my family, found like the hip hop R&B side of things as well.
So you bring both of them together and find a way to to make, because like when you listen to Higher Love that we shall play later on for the people, you can't just put it in a certain category and say this is what it is.
Right. Yeah, it was a blend. And I think a lot of musicians, we have a lot of different influences. It's hard to you don't just listen to one type. I always talk about music genres being like food. Unless you're on some crazy diet, you're not going to cut out a whole category of food, right?
Yeah.
You need a little bit of everything. There's always good stuff to choose from. But yeah, I would say that's kind of my main influences, which is in a lot of ways different from John's.
Well, I grew up just a little bit the opposite. I mean, my older brother, um, he showed me a lot of hip hop and jazz growing up. So I knew that kind of first, and also a lot of rock as well. But my older brother is like, he's the only musician in the family. And there was like, we didn't know anything about music before that. So he just decided he wanted to play the bass one day and then did. And because he listened to a lot of hip hop, he also rapped. So it was interesting to have that influence for me, just because like, my parents put us in church. So we both knew how to sing, but like I really stuck with it. I went the singing route. And he started diving more into like, hip hop and jazz and that sort of thing. So my background was hearing all of that and some rock as well, for sure. But
like Rage.
Yeah, I used to, yeah, exactly. Like every Rage Against the Machine, Deftones, like I listened to that stuff too. But my brother was very like influential in pointing out, the connection between all that music. He could kind of show me like, this is how you get from here to here. And that kind of jump started for me wanting to write my own songs, but it's just the interesting part for me is I didn't have like any musical family at all. Everything that we've gotten to do, everything that I've gotten to do musically, I've had to kind of come to that on my own. The fortunate thing was by going to Berkeley, was meeting like Summer and a bunch of friends who were like, have you listened to this? Have you tried this? you know, when we first met, Summer was like, you know, a much better guitar player than me. And I just watch her play. I just be like, how did you do that?
We always have a joke. He's like, you use your pinky? I don't use my pinky.
I had to relearn guitar after that.
Now he's way better than I am. He teaches me stuff. Today he was just teaching me Good Days by SZA. So it's come full circle. But I mean, some of the influences are the same. We both grew up, you know, listening to the Beatles and some classic sounds. We love Stevie Wonder, of course. You know, you can't really live any kind of musical life without him.
Right.
So there's some crossover.
Yeah, but that's amazing, you know. But you know, much as you say that the backgrounds are different, as far as the music goes, you almost listen to the same thing.
Well, kind
some
of.
ways,
I
yeah.
never listened to like a lot of the singer-songwriter stuff. You know,
And classical, not really.
yeah, and I think my understanding of hip hop was, you know, a little deeper. You know, like you know, I grew up listening to like everything, like, you know, Tribe Called Quest, Public Enemy, NWA, all that, like from the 90s on up. So that was a lot more of what I listened to, as opposed to like, you know, more of the and I did listen to the Beatles, but I didn't listen to like the Rolling Stones or anything like that. Like there's a lot of classic music that I missed that her family,
like Pink Floyd,
showed
like
her.
Led Zeppelin, the Stones, Neil Young. Like I was steeped in that. Joni Mitchell, the Heart. So I had like a lot more exposure to classic rock.
Yeah, and also for me, just from those hip hop influences, that early stuff, you know, a lot of that was like that kind of Dilla vibe. So you ended up getting into jazz just by nature, listening to that hip hop. You know, like it wasn't like I didn't always necessarily seek out jazz, but I'd hear something like Electric Relaxation by Tribe Called Quest and be like, what is that sample? I've got to understand this sample. Like I got to know where it came from so I can do that.
You know, I think it was recently. I think it's either last week when it was Dilla's birthday. I think it was last week, right?
Which one? What was it?
Dilla's birthday was, I think, last week.
Was it?
Yeah, I think last week, Dilla's birthday.
What was last week?
I was saying it was. I think it was Jay Dilla's birthday. I think last week.
Oh, it's Dilla's birthday, Dilla Day.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, I thought it was in March, but it might have been.
I don't know.
I think it was. I saw people doing a lot of you know, tribute mixes for him.
We're usually more on that, but this year we've been like just so focused on the video. But that's true.
I might be confusing it with Fife's birthday.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, because I saw a lot of people making some stuff for some tribute mixes for him, and yeah, it was February 7th. Yes, February 7th.
Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I missed it.
Well, it's a birthday month, so we can.
Right.
No, everyone. No, this from 2020 to this time around. You know, everything is crazy. We don't remember dates anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. We're supposed to have a donut.
So how did you know, as far as let's see, with the pandemic, you know, coming in, and how did that work for you guys? Did you think you wrote more then, or do you think that when that came in, you know, things go to a standstill, and same went for you as far as the music goes?
Well, at first it definitely came to a standstill. I think everybody's first initial reaction was, you know, the same, which is, especially in this industry, you know, what are we gonna, how is it gonna affect touring? How's it gonna affect going into the studio? How's it gonna affect, you know, A&R meetings and all sorts of stuff that you would normally. We had a whole year-long trip planned to Europe where we were gonna work, record, and play shows. That, you know, immediately went to the wayside. So,
I was hanging on. I was like, maybe in July.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, they don't want any Americans at all.
Yeah. So it did at first kind of, you know, make us question, like, what is this time even going to look like? But I would say it didn't take that long, maybe like a month, for us to realize, like, you know, we can turn this time into a blessing if we, you know, play our cards right. And a big part of that was just like, you know, we're going to have to hustle during this time.
And what's interesting is this is an interview kind of about Higher Love, and that's like kind of our COVID baby. Like we just went in the studio and we created Higher Love. That's the first song we did once we were like, oh, we're locked down. At first you're like, oh, I have like 2 weeks at home. you know, what am I gonna do with these 2 weeks? And so we just like went hard for several months, and we really wanted to just make it as good as it could be and put a lot of love into it. So that's kind of what came through it.
Oh, so Higher Love was one of the projects you did, you know, once it started knocking in, once it started settling in that, hey, we are still here for a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
We started writing it about a year ago, but it was really just an idea. Like it wasn't like fully formed at all, just kind of a scratch track. And then when we were going through, we what we do is basically on like every Friday or every weekend, more or less, we just write like whatever we're feeling. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the genre, it doesn't matter style, nothing. We just write whatever from the heart. And we keep those ideas like in a folder where we can just revisit them later. If something comes up and it's like, you know, you got to write it right now, you do it. But there were a lot of ideas sitting in that folder, and we were going back through them, and we heard that one. We were like, that's a song worth finishing.
It was called New Moon, which is interesting because right now is the new moon. Because before you write lyrics,
Yes,
you always have some title, you know, and it was called New Moon, right?
Yep.
And so we really, with Higher Love, wanted to get the vocal right because it's such a vocal song. The voice is so present, the lyrics are important. And well, yeah, we were even writing some of the lyrics in Australia. We got to go to Australia right before the shutdown. We got back and we released another song, Like Fire, for International Women's Day on March 8th. And then like 3 days later, everything shut down, like right after that release. So we had done the lyrics in Australia, and then we just really were dialing in the vocals, which took time because it's a featured moment in the song is really the vocal part.
Oh yeah. I think you know, and then you know, let's with Higher Love, you know, that was the first one of the first projects you've actually put out after, you know, you started getting used to being home for a while, and you're still home right now. So then did you build more around that to a project, or did you just want to put that as a single and that's it?
So Higher Love is part of, we have like this huge long-term project idea that we're doing called Blocks. And Blocks, it started when next door, they like tore down all the apartments and they were just like building like construction for like 2 years. And it was just in our heads all the time. So we were thinking about building blocks and construction and new, you know, building. And also like building as a couple, building as a business, but also creative blocks, like the things that get in the way of our creativity. That was your concept, I think, the whole idea of blocks. So that's how you pronounce the first album we released, which was Blocks. That first one is Feel. And we think a block, it's 4, right? So like it's even sides, and 4 is kind of an important number to us. It's 12:44 right now. And so like that happens all the time. So our first EP was 4 songs, and we're going to do 4 blocks of 4. So this first one's Feel, that's already out. The next one's Mind. And then there's going to be Vibe and Hype, like kind of more upbeat stuff. But Mind is sort of like the answer to Feel, and Higher Love is part of Mind, which is going to be the next 4 songs. And that's also the title of the mini movie we're doing, the short film that's going to go with the EP. So we're telling the story through those 4 songs, and Higher Love is kind of like the climax of that movie.
Yeah, that's interesting. So which means that there will be 2 projects, and
there'll be a couple. Well, there'll be this project and then the companion movie to go with it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So now, the other thing is this though. With how are you going to do the film part? You know, with all the craziness going on, are you going to build something around your home, and how is it go about this?
We actually thought about that. I mean, it is definitely tough to film. We have a very small crew, which is to say we have the 2 of us and our director.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do as much of it as the 3 of us as possible, but we just did some shooting the other day where, we had to go into we had to rent a studio space and everything like that. We had a few extra crew members, and everyone's just precautious, wearing masks. Everyone took COVID tests beforehand, and only keep the people on set that are necessary. Everybody else just kind of distance. So that's about the best you can do. Yeah. But in doing that, we also are learning a lot about how to create in this environment. In some ways, it's actually like a little bit of like a motivation, you know, because it is harder to get these things done, but at the same time, you know, it kind of shows just like how much do you want to get it done? In which ways can you use the limits to, you know, create something new?
Yeah, actually, I don't think this project would even happen without COVID because our director is our next door neighbor. And normally he's traveling all over the place for work, but he was home and he's like very talented and was bored and wanted something to do. And so we started this project. Like we also started another project called Beats, Kicks, and Life, where John kind of talks about Fife in that one too, actually, but which is a series about like our music and pairing it with sneakers. He's a sneakerhead. And just life topics. So we started that. And then from there, we're like, wow, what else could we do together? Like we just started a whole new, you know, web series. Maybe we could do a music video, and that parlayed to maybe we could do a short film. And so what we did is we drove to Colorado, where he and I, the neighbor, Sam, and I are both from. And we just shot for like 2 weeks straight, like out in the mountains. And that's where you're going to see the video from Higher Love. It's in Colorado, like Arizona, New Mexico. And it was empty because COVID, you know, so it was actually to our advantage in some ways. There are only 3 of us, so there's a lot to learn. And then living in Los Angeles is very helpful because people are around, people are willing to work. They just need work. Actors need work, people in the industry need work. So it kind of feels good to be able to pay people and bring them on board, even if it's just a little tiny project. And you have these studios that are renting out that are probably normally booked. So there's a little silver lining to the whole thing and how we've been able to do this because of the situation.
And do you think, you know, as we move forward, do you think even when we're out of the woods, do you think that from what we have learned during this time, do you think that will change on how we work towards things like, or how like your song making process is? Do you think that will affect how you make music moving forward or any other project?
Yeah, I do for sure. I think you know, we also write songs for other artists and that sort of thing. We produce and that stuff. So you know, we've had songwriting sessions that are completely on Zoom. Normally you go into a studio, it's a group of you get together and you write, but now we've all had to learn how do you do these Zoom sessions, you know? And in some ways it's really, really good. We've worked with, you know, we can work with artists in different countries, and you know, create, you know, in ways we didn't think we would. And it all, to me, it all goes back to the same thing. It's you know, it's how do you learn to take the limitations that you have and turn them into, you know, and break through them in a way, you know. There's always like a, you know, there's always some kind of boundary, and you know, there's always just a little bit of wiggle room to get just beyond that boundary too. So you figure that out, and then I think it's yielded some really cool stuff.
Yeah. And I think this period has shown how much people you need to make projects, because earlier on you would want people in the studio and then you spend hours and hours in studio time, and now you have to figure it out right now on Zoom and find a way to do the most in the least amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be like hanging out, eating pizza, just not focused. It's true. But like you were saying, like limitations help us be more creative. There used to be courses like that, like only write a song with 2 chords, or, you know, like don't follow the formula. Whenever you give some scaffolding or some containment, it's weird, but like you can be more creative as opposed to just do whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost too overwhelming. Like you need some structure,
right,
to contain yourself.
And the other thing is this though, you know, as working together as a couple, how easy, or what do you think? Do you think you work the best when you're working together? And this is not based on because you're a couple right now, then, because I know that answer can be yes, but I mean, you working on your other projects, him working on his other projects. What do you think changes when the two of you decided to form the power couple and decide to make music together?
well, it's not always easy, that's definitely for sure. Like you know, I think the same things come up when you're writing music, the same insecurities. You know, you want to put out something that's excellent, you know, and I think in being a couple, you care for one another. So you don't want to see the other person beat themselves up if, they're like, oh, we're not getting it today. Like she'll see, if I get down because I don't feel like the song's good enough, she'll have to see that and want to help, but, you can't always do that. Sometimes it's just got to run its course. Sometimes you make something that's not great in order to make something eventually that is, so also I would say sometimes we disagree on what we think is great. You know what I mean? She sometimes is more of a risk taker than I am, and that I think that like we have a song called My Stop that was on our first EP, and it's a pretty bold song, like in terms of just like it's like jazz, hip hop, electronic.
No box
At all. Like I mean, literally, we've tried submitting it to
no one knows where it fits.
No one, people are like, it's a great song.
I
just don't know how to
with
define it. But that song was born from her energy of like, this sounds cool to me. And I was like, but I don't know what to do with it. And because she fought for it and was like, trust me, this is something worth hearing. I honestly, it's one of, now in hindsight, it's one of my favorite songs ever that we've ever written. And it wouldn't have happened if she hadn't pushed that creative boundary in me.
Yeah, I think what's great about I prefer now writing music as a couple. For my whole life, I was always solo, or I had like a backing band. But I just feel like what John is saying, like you're different, so you carry each other along when you come up against like an insecurity or a weakness. So we fill in each other's strengths. I think of it like a relay race, like he'll take the song to a point and then like I'm stuck, and then I'll take it to a point like I'm stuck, and so it keeps it moving. And also like I just personally working with John, he's tapped into some potential that I never knew I had. So he pushes me like vocally and musically in so many ways that I'm way surpassing, what I would have been doing alone. So I think that we do bring out the best in each other and push each other. And I help him like let go of things. Like if it was up to John, he would never release a song ever. He would make them all perfect until he died. So I'm like, it's ready. If they like it, they like it. If you want to change it, too bad. Like we need to let this little bird fly, So I help him kind of move along that way so we can create room for new things to come in.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah. And then what happens when one of you wants to write a song where, there's a side of you want to tell, and then probably you might be worried about what the other person might think, and how do you get to that point now?
Well,
like alone in the same room or something.
I was going to say, yeah. So the first song on our last EP is called Alone in the Same Room. And that song stemmed from a fight. So we had already written some of the music to it. We had a basic idea of it. I think it was like the chord structure. So we started writing melodies and lyrics, and we got into a fight about it. I don't, at this point, I don't even remember what was the fight. Yeah, exactly. That's how stupid the fight was.
Nobody knows.
All fight, or just like that, right? Yeah, exactly. So we knew we needed to get the song done though. So we're
like heated.
Yeah, we were both just so mad. But we challenged ourselves and decided that we were going to sit in our studio, just turn our backs to each other and just write lyrics, both of us individually, lyrics and melody by ourselves. And then, within like 30 minutes or an hour or something like that, turn back around and read what we wrote to each other. And I will tell you that it could not, it's literally, even in listening to the song, you hear how the lyrics are just like a combined effort. One of them is like, I'm doing the right thing, you're in the wrong, it's like that sort of back and forth dynamic.
We're like, oh, we're fighting, let's turn it into a song. So yeah, there's definitely like those issues and we go through it. And some days, like you said, it's a wash, but for that song and other songs, I think it was important to tell that real story because so many couples go through these issues and there's not a lot of people talking about it. It always looks perfect on social media or, oh, we never fight or, so it was kind of funny to come out that with our first song, because we had friends being like, y'all all right? Like, you good? Because it sounds like you're kind of in a hard place. But I think it takes a lot of strength to be able to face those things and then share it with the world. And I think it's important to just be more realistic about how much work it takes to be in a relationship, and then to find a way to still channel that into creativity.
Yeah, and also what I'm getting from this is, much as you are both heated and doing that, you still decided to say, hey, we are still going to make this work, and you sat in the same studio and still managed to write.
Yeah, we decided a while ago that our kind of our motto or our mantra or whatever is basically, you have to do what's best for the song.
Yeah.
So,
And power couple is not either of us, right? It's bigger than us. So you got to do it for power couple. We both really care about it, so
yeah.
you got to get out of your own ego.
That's a takeaway for this too, yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's the other thing, because when the reason why I said it was a takeaway is because we were dealing with something on the show this week. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and we were disagreeing on. We are three on the show, so in the morning show, not this one. There's another morning show, right? And there are a bit of, we are all strong personalities. The lady is also like an alpha, and and so she's more of my side is the right one, and she will have to out yell anyone else. So now the challenge is, I was like, yo, sometimes we have to calm down and deal with the fact that, we still have a show to do, and now we might disagree on what our beliefs are, what our backgrounds say, and all these things. At the end of the day, we are in this room together, and we are still having 4 hours, and we still have to make things work. So let's take away everything else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So the ego is usually the challenge. Usually challenges a lot of things and doesn't make things work sometimes.
Absolutely, because it's just for itself.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't take anyone anywhere. But we are talking about Higher Love is the single that is out, and when do you think this project will be out? The entire project.
That is a good question.
That's actually something we're discussing right now. Our intention was to actually put the EP and the film out this year. I think what's going to end up happening is the EP will still come out this year, but the film may come out next year, because we are looking to get it into some film festivals, and they want to see the project as a completed project.
And they don't want it to be released. It hurts your chances sometimes of getting accepted if it's already been released.
Oh yeah.
So Higher Love could come out as like a teaser, the video. And then the EP will come out this year. We're actually gonna have a follow-up single in March, probably, called Skyride to Higher Love. But like John's saying, we're still deciding about the best way to launch the short film, Mind.
But you'll hear the music this year, which is exciting for us.
Yeah, it's like what The Weeknd just did. It's like those songs have been out for a while, but now that you have this visual to go with it, it has like a whole new meaning, and it's like resurging again in the charts.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what is it? Blinding Lights. I think
Blinding Lights. Yeah.
highest topping chart of song of the century, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Higher Love is what is out right now, because this will be out when Higher Love is out. So Higher Love is what is out, guys, right now. Go check that out. Coming in from a power couple, that is PWR, then CRL.
CPL.
CP. Yeah, my bad. CP.
That's okay.
Yeah, and the EP. You say the EP is going to be called Mine, right?
Yes.
Yes, and that will be out this year too.
I mean, like John was saying, we've just been focusing on producing and songwriting and doing this movie, which has taken up a ton of time. But we both just love the live stage. We love the audience. We love the energy exchange. So it's been hard for us to adjust and switch over to an online platform, because you're really not getting the same feedback from the audience. It's not that we would never do it. It's just that we're not prioritizing it right now, because there's so many other things we're working on, and we're hopeful that things will start to open up again and we can start touring and playing live shows soon.
Yeah, I think it's it's even a challenge, when you're doing these shows, and You're like singing to the computer and then to your computer or phone, and then you go back to read comments and see what happens.
Yeah.
I know it's all delayed. Like we like when people sing along and they're clapping and they're dancing. Like it's a totally different experience, you know?
Yeah, yeah. In your living room or in the studio right now, and then it's always there's a way it feels. It's different.
Yeah.
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 But it's good for some people. It's a good option. And you know, we'd be open to it at some point, but it just hasn't been a priority right now.
Oh yeah. So that's good. So maybe when Higher Love comes out, maybe you'll do some shows.
Yeah. Yeah,
Might
we
just.
could do it. Just one song. Just here's the song.
Yeah, and yeah, that's but the good thing is I like how there's been an advancement in technology. Even when you are not having shows, you still have to get the music across and get it to people and stream and all that. You're not getting much from it as you should get, but the reach is a bit more favorable right now because people are seated at home and they can't do much, so they're streaming.
Yeah. And you get to reach people from all over the world. So that's amazing too, you know, maybe places we would normally be able to travel. And we are planning on once the movie comes out, we're going to play that like for the initial screening, we're thinking of performing the whole EP live with the movie. So it's like a live interactive performance that goes with the visual.
Oh, okay. So
That,
all right, sorry about that. Yeah.
oh, I was just saying, so that could be cool even on an online platform.
Right.
Be streaming that.
All right. So, and then with the EP, is it only you guys, or do you have any other collaborations with the EP?
It's only us, but with Higher Love, we actually got to work with a gentleman named Bill Myers, who's a composer and arranger, and he's worked with like everybody from Madonna to Ariana Grande. So he heard the song and was extremely kind and told us he wanted to put live strings on the song, and that just kind of blew us away. Just it's not every day you have somebody with such a
Resume.
yeah, like who just shows up and it's like, I want to do this.
Yeah. So
Um,
they added live cello and live violin. We got to go and be part of that experience, which was amazing. It's
Yeah.
a really good memory now. So they're all part of that song. It wasn't just the two of us, but John definitely did a lot of the string arrangement, and it was a collaboration between the two of them for the live strings.
Okay.
yeah, that part was great just because I didn't really know. I haven't really arranged for strings before, so this was like, I've done it kind of just for fun, but never really like put it into my own project or anything like that. So when we did this, it was kind of just it was very encouraging to have somebody who's been doing this professionally for years say, you're already there, I just want to add a few things and really beef it up. I was like, wow,
Yeah, it was affirming.
it was very affirming.
Oh, nice. So Higher Love is the song, guys. And for people who want to reach out to you, how can they find you guys on socials and all that?
The best way is just on our website, which is powercouple.com, which is spelled PWR CPL. There's a mailing list there, and we do want to connect with you that way. That's the best way because social media changes up. It's always moving platforms. So if you really want to stay in touch, go to the website. But we do have Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. It's the same spelling. So if you look it up, it should be there. There's on Spotify, YouTube.
And there's links, all those links are on the website too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the website is the better option so that guys can go and find whatever link that works for them, and then they choose that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're always connected as opposed to whatever's the latest trend.
Yeah. we do have some live videos up on YouTube that you can check out. Just go to the website, click on the YouTube link, and you'll see our debut show was actually also filmed, and most of those songs are up on YouTube.
Yeah, and then you could check out Beats, Kicks, and Life too on YouTube if you want to check out that short series we did with our neighbor Sam. It's pretty fun. There's 6 episodes.
And we'll be picking up a second season of that soon. So.
Oh wow! All right, that's interesting. So you're being up in a second season for that? Wow.
Yeah, we I don't know. We're ambitious. Got a lot going on.
Lots to talk about.
I'm not bored.
Yeah, not at all. Doesn't sound like you're bored at all.
No.
Yeah. So So Higher Love is a song, guys, that you need to check out coming in from Power Couple PW, then R, then P, and then CPL. You know, you took out the vowels, right?
Yes, it's like a puzzle.
Yes, and the EP is called Mine that will come out later on this year, and then the short film also probably next year. So that's all you need to check out, guys. Go to their website, powercouple.com. That's the site.
Yep.
And check out any of the links that you want to connect them with on. And nonetheless, no matter how many years go by, the mailing list still works.
Yeah, exactly. There'll always be email.
That's the standard.
The mailing list is not going anywhere. It doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere at any time soon.
No.
Yeah,
And hopefully we can come visit when all this is over. We'd love to come over there.
yeah, you already went to Kenya, so it's, you see.
Yeah, just walk over.
In Kenya, what are you going to do? Just to uh, vacate, or what were you going to do in Kenya?
I was in Kenya with Berklee College of Music, went there, and I'm also a music therapist. So it was like a music therapy trip. So we were there doing music with people. It was really fun.
Hold on, how does this work? How does the music therapy work?
So music therapy is like any type of therapy, but music is the medium you use. So I think most of us already know how healing music can be. But music therapists basically are trained in all these different ways you can use music depending on who you're working with, right? If that person has autism or Alzheimer's, or maybe they have cancer, like there's a lot of different ways you can use music to reduce pain, to build your immune system. It's good right now. To connect to your community. If you're depressed, it helps build your mood elevation. So it does a lot of different things, and music therapists just learn how to kind of use certain parts of music for whatever that person needs.
Oh wow! Never thought of that at all.
It's awesome.
I know how music makes you feel. That part I know. I think I hadn't put, that in a category. Or there's music therapy too. But I knew what it makes me feel. What it makes me feel, and which is why I like music so much. And I don't limit it by genre or something like that. It's because of how you feel when the song plays, and it's I always tell people when the way I pick songs that I get to play on the show is I just play the song before I see who the artist is, what the title of the song is. I just play, and whatever gets me in the first 30 seconds, I go back to that, and I'm like, now I need to listen to this more. So,
yep, that's a great way to do it. And I love listening to music that way too. Just let it speak to you.
Yeah,
and always it will always speak to you. Even it doesn't need an entire 2 minutes to do that, but the first few seconds will get you, and you're like, oh, I need to listen to more of this.
Yeah, pretty quickly. I do like that old game, Name That Tune, where you have to try to name it in a couple notes. I mean, it works now. You could just play like 1 or 2 seconds of a song. People know what song it is.
Yeah.
We are so hardwired to recognize music. It's great for learning, but like you said, it immediately elicits some sort of emotion. And so that's why you're your own best like music doctor, and you can give yourself a playlist prescription of I need this right now. A lot of times when we feel sad, it helps to hear sad songs because we feel understood and someone can relate to us, and it helps us go into the emotion, but in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming, like it's contained in the song, and then it releases that emotion. You can move through it and come out on the other side.
Yeah. So all along, which means, there's been which means we have been going through this, but I just didn't put a label to it, that there's music therapy and there's this and that. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Most people already know it intuitively and are already using music in this way.
Yeah, I think so. So, guys, it's been so much fun hanging out with you guys. And Higher Love is the song, guys, that is out, coming in from Power Couple, PWR, then CPL. And check them out on their website, that is pwrcpl.com. And check out the rest of the music, and check out the first season of the
Beats, Kicks, and Life.
Yes, 6 episodes, right? You said? Yeah, the guys need to check that out. So what will the second season be comprise of?
Well, the second season, we're going to I mean, we'll pick up right where we left off with basically what we do is we review a shoe. We talk a little bit about the history behind whoever created the shoe or what the theme of the shoe is, and then the first season we actually reviewed our own music, but going forward we're actually also going to be reviewing other artists' music as well. So
Basically, he's doing a pairing, kind of like a wine pairing, but it's like a sneaker, which we see as art and design. Fashion is part of art.
Yeah.
A sneaker with a beat, right? And why do those two things go together? What's this overall theme? Like we have a episode about like women and empowerment, and then we have an episode about Los Angeles and all the artists and stuff that come out of the city and what it would be. So there's different themes, and we'll be experiencing that and traveling more.
Oh, that's amazing! Can't wait. I'll actually check out the first season, and I'll definitely let you know, give you feedback on that.
that'd be great.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for hanging out with us. And guys, Xtreme BPM, we shall be back next week.